Good morning, everybody. This is Margaret Pinard. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to do a little quiet, cozy, rusticated reading, if you will. So I'm glad you're here to join me. It's Friday. It's the last Friday of the month when I usually do a final Friday sprint for productivity. But because this month I'm running the readathon, as you can see in my handle, May of the Moderns, I'm doing a little reading sprints, although they're more like a reading corner because we're not concerned about quantity or anything. I'm going to be reading the one I started the most recently, which is properly old. Not the first printing, but I think the fifth in 1930, which is pretty cool. It's Laments for the Living by Dorothy Parker. And I just finished a short story before I went live. It was quite entertaining. It was called New York to Detroit, and it was about a telephone conversation between a gal who was in New York and a guy who was in Detroit. And he was working at the office, or yeah, at first I thought he was a telephone operator himself, but I think he is in his office and that's how she reached him. But quite comical, quite poignant. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish Dorothy Parker and add that to my list of trophies for May of the Moderns. So I've pinned a comment in the live chat to say what you're reading. I've had a few people stroll on in to say hello, like pen number mine, Ward. Hello, Mama Maggie. And Cool Gamer. Hey, hey, hey. And Leslie from Bookskers and Purrs. Oh my goodness. Maggie says, I read Laments for the Living in college back when the internet was only accessible on campuses and via dial-up. Wow. Yeah, you're close to my age then. Yeah, but just imagine having someone on a telephone exchange connect to you, because not most poignant, the kicker, I guess, the twist at the end is that the telephone operator says, all done with Detroit, when she's been trying to have this difficult conversation with this guy. They were probably listening in back in the day. So not great, not great. Oh, so to answer my question, Mama Maggie is reading Tiny Shivers by AuthorTube's very own Laura Nettles. Nicely done. So I think I'm just going to do, put this up here in the new format. Is this a new format? There we go. So we'll do this. Just want to say welcome once again. This is a reading corner. So we're going to be sprinting or reading for 20 minutes. And I'm just going to use this as a timer and turn on some ambient sound. Hopefully that doesn't get me a copyright strike, but it's the first time I'm trying it. I really like this ambiance package that is on lifeat.io. So we'll try it and see. And in case you're new here, just before we get started, I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author, and I have 5 novels and 1 collection of short stories out. If you tend toward the historical direction, definitely check them out. And with that, I think we'll get started. I will put up the question of the day so that people can meditate on that while we're sprinting, and press the button in just a second. 53. Oh, I'm 42. Wow, you had internet at the college that early? Or you went later? There's all sorts of assumptions baked into the age judgment, so maybe that's what happened. Emma Bennett is here. Hello. She booped the like button. Much appreciated. If anyone is here, just arriving, hit the like button, leave something in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. They were always listening in. And fun fact, there were trains that were mobile post offices where dozens of women sorted mail on the trains as they moved back and forth from NYC to Kansas City to San Francisco. Oh, would that be like using partly the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe? Musical reference there. All right. Yes. And Maggie is prepping for her launch on the 31st, which is only 3 days away. Crazy, I know. 3 days? 5 days. 5 days away. Sorry. Oh my gosh. They had internet in the 80s because they were in Houston near NASA. That's so cool. That's a fun fact for sure. But yes, the mobile post offices on the trains is also really cool. Oh, I can see a romance forming already, right? Totally. So yeah, so pop this up. We're 6 minutes in. I'll just start this timer and we'll start on the Pomodoro. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. All right, we'll see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so now I gave myself a 10-minute break. I had a bit of a longer story in the Dorothy Parker. I liked the beginning of it, but in the way of comic novels, I'm not sure I got it, all of it. So I also got myself my pastry, which is called a sfogliatelle. It looks like a clamshell, fancy. I got the Trader Joe's version though, so not so fancy, but still tasty. And I started reading some more of the Frank O'Connor, and I'm on the section where he talks about writers he's known. He goes on and on about Joyce and Yeats. It's sort of alternating between the two. And he had this little piece from Yeats. The lines of his, by which I shall always remember him, Yeats, are those that haunted me all day after I had heard of his death. Strong sinew and soft flesh are foliage round the shaft, before the arrowsmith has stripped it, and I pray that I, all foliage gone, may shoot into my joy. Interesting, right? Very interesting. So catch up on the chat. Emma Bennett said that she wasn't following me on Instagram, but now she is. Maggie said that's pretty cool. They had internet in the 80s near Houston because of NASA. Yeah, I had to wait till the 90s for my dad to get. No, I guess in the 80s he had an Apple IIe, but there was no internet. And she also attended her first space camp in 1985. Never did that. She was commenting on the feel of the paper from books published before 1960. And yes, my Dorothy Parker in 1930 is definitely like rougher. It's definitely got evidence of like damp or having lived through humidity, and it just feels thick and a witness to history. I love paper for so many reasons. Deidre was here to say good morning and smash the like button. Thank you. Nice to see you here. There's Emma's comments about Instagram. I only do stories, so you may have looked at the grid and said she hasn't posted since last December. She's not really on Instagram, but I do stories all the time. I sort of go in waves. So yeah. Annalise came in to say hello. I love her profile pic there. It looks like it could be William Morris print, but I'm not sure. So let me know if I got it right. Yeah. Any reading focus for June? I realized during my reading sprint I wanted to read for May of the Moderns, obviously, but now I'm also looking forward to like what should I take with me for June. If you don't know, I'm going down to California to visit my family, and I'm driving because I have to take the cat because if it's more than 2 days, like he doesn't like being left alone, and I don't want to pay for a cat sitter. So taking the bean, driving 10 hours, and then 6 hours more. So lots of audiobooks in the mix. But to make that amount of driving and upheaval worth it, I try to make it an extended stay, as if I'm summering in the country. So this morning when I woke up, I thought, ooh, I could treat myself and actually have a session to determine what reading I will do in June. So obviously there's Pride readathons. Obviously there's going to be Juneteenth themed reading to be done. I'm not sure what other readathons on BookTube there are. Feel free to drop them in if you know. But I also just have like things I want to read next, especially from the library. So there's some Indigenous written books in that vein and other stuff. It's going to be a very busy month. So something immersive, something short, something beautiful writing. Like those are the kind of directions I want to focus on. And then also LGBTQ books and Juneteenth books. So a few different things to hit. We'll see how much reading I do this month. Might be 0. Just Eva says, hey. Maggie says, making video clips from the vlog I did yesterday. Nice. So you're clipping bits of the video to put into a vlog, if I understand that correctly. Oh, Annalise says, it is William Morris. I actually visited the William Morris Society in London last week, and I'm completely in love with the wallpapers. That is so cool. That is really cool. And it's nice to like connect with people who love those like decorative arts touches. Yeah. It's funny, I randomly watched either on Netflix or on YouTube a version of one of these shows that has people live in a house with the technology from the past. But this one was Arts and Crafts Society. So I think like 4 or 5 people had to live in a commune somewhere in the UK. But it was a beautiful property, beautiful house. And their challenge was not just getting along with like without the conveniences of a modern life, but they also had to do arts and crafts projects like you would in an artist community in like around 1900. So there was an embroiderer who I ended up following on Instagram, Wimpress Embroidery. Um, there was it her? Was it she who did the wallpapering? Anyway, there was like someone who had to do woodwork and not just make a chair, but actually carve the wood from a trunk because you didn't just get pieces from IKEA, right? So it was interesting seeing all the process of arts and crafts. It wasn't just I know my one niche thing, like designing wallpaper. It was like I have to know how to get the best materials, know how to make them raw materials into processed materials, know how to change the processed materials with limited technology, you know. It was a really interesting series. I didn't like how they highlighted the drama of it like Big Brother, but I did really like the process of learning, and they talked to experts at museums, and the wallpaper one that she stamped was really cool. There's a silversmith. It was a really cool series. So yeah. Oh, and speaking of the Arts and Crafts UK series, Martin Lejeune, afternoon. Hi, hello, how you doing? All right, so we've got a pinned comment in the live chat saying what you reading, and just Eva responded, As Good as True by Cheryl Reed. So we've got a Laura Nettles book and a Cheryl Reed book. I don't know that one, just Eva. So yeah. I never remember books, but I read that one. Nice. And Elise says, I saw that too. It was on YouTube. He had stamping the wallpaper. Isn't it cool? Yeah. Yeah. And imagine just like the repetition. Bleh. Um, and then that's the live chat. That's the pinned question on the poll. But here on StreamYard, I've got a question of the day. Do you have a reading focus for June? And Eva says, no, nothing to do with June. LOL. And hopping back to the pinned, reading Mrs. Dalloway. Nice. I've got To the Lighthouse on my list of like next books, but seeing as we only have 4 or 5 more days of the month, I probably won't get to it. I'm probably going to try to finish my Dorothy Parker because it's fast, and this Frank O'Connor because it's from the library and it's chunker. It's like 600 plus pages, but it reads pretty easily. So I'm in the section, as I said, where he talks about other writers, and Yeats and Joyce figure prominently. But he also mentioned James Stevens in the context of someone else calling him a genius. He said, don't call Joyce a genius. James Stevens is a genius, but Joyce, a powerful voice, a magnificent intellect or something. And I'm not sure really what the distinction was, but he mentioned James Stevens. And I was like, I never would have remembered the name James Stevens. It's 2 first names. It's one of those very forgettable ones, except that I read his book from Way of the Moderns, Crock of Gold, which I liked and Shannon didn't. So, but someone thought he was a genius back in the day. So I just thought that was kind of neat. And it's all connecting, which is what happens when you get into readathon fun. Okay, so we're getting down to the last little bit of our 10-minute break. I assume we'll do 4 20-minute sprints and 3 10-minute breaks. If that adds up, 4 10-minute breaks. Anyway, I think it'll add up. My intuitive mathematical mind says it works, and I can't explain how. That's fine. So if you do come in during the sprint, feel free to answer the question on the screen or the question pinned in the chat. I was going to say upcoming events. I've got. I'm running out of time. Well, you know what I do? Pause. Upcoming events is the Sunday chat with Sandy of Miss Reads a Lot. So I'll pop that on there. The only other thing I wanted to remind people of is if you are, let's see if this will take. I don't have the link handy. The other thing I would love to bring to your attention is that there's a GoFundMe going for J.C. Carpenter, a fellow author tuber. She had an eviction notice and it was quite sudden, and she is trying to gather resources and make things more stable for herself and her daughter, living conditions wise. So any money you can throw towards that would be appreciated. And I'll put the link in the chat as soon as we start our sprint. I'm going to count backwards. 1, 2, now. And 20. Yay! And we're back from our second sprint into our second break. How'd you do? Did you read? Did you focus? Did I interrupt something? Sorry. Yes. This is the quote I pulled from my Frank O'Connor reading this morning. There are only two dialects of Irish, plain Irish and toothless Irish. Which stops funny. Yeah, so it's a short story, so it also has excerpts, and this is an excerpt from Leinster, Munster, and Connacht, the Taylor and Anne State. And he's talking about this person, Taylor, who's an old man who knows a lot of folklore. And I don't know who he's referring to, and he doesn't name it because everyone would know in the time, but I don't. So it's kind of annoying. I don't know who he's talking about. But anyway, he didn't have teeth, but he still spoke Irish. And he said he thought he missed a lot of what he said because he didn't understand the toothless Irish. So yeah. Oh, Cat's Novel Adventures. Hello, hello. Just got home from running errands. Hope you're doing well. Love your cozy reading corner. Thank you. Yeah, so that's life@.io. And I, again, hope I don't get snarled into any um, copyright issues. I already told you about the GoFundMe for JC and that I have a chat coming up, a live stream chat with Sandy from Ms. Reads a Lot on Sunday. So that link is in the chat as well. What else was I going to say? I've got a poll up if anyone wants to vote. I think it's pretty clear who's going to win, but there's a poll on my community tab if you want to weigh in. I'm taking votes for the Patreon book club in June, and I picked these books back in January. I did like 6 months worth of possibilities, and I figured I would do a poll for the public and for the patrons to see what we end up reading and what the whole world thinks we should read. I thought that would be interesting. But it's leaning pretty heavily toward The Witch's Heart. So I will probably be putting that on my list to bring down for June. So, Gornishek. Guinevere Gornishek. So it's got a beautiful cover. It's so pretty. It was hyped on BookTube or TikTok, but it was also a beautiful cover. So I don't know exactly which got me to buy it. Probably just the Barnes & Noble sale is what got me to buy it. Yeah. Let's see. I'm getting real tired. Last couple nights I've woken up in the middle of the night and just like stayed awake for about an hour and then gone back to bed. And I don't know. I think it just catches up with me all at once. My eyes get teary and I get. Oh, I took a Benadryl. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the Benadryl. It's helping, but it's also like slowing down. I had this feeling yesterday afternoon too, like slowing down. So I don't know if the moderns are what I should read. Maybe I know what I'll do next. Next sprint, I will do pre-planning for June and looking at the things that I want to like get something in the category of. So for that, I will need my planner. I'm behind on the planner pages, but I've got the June page. I just need to put the fabric tape on the end so that it stands out. I don't know if you can see here. Part of the personalization of the planner is putting tape on the edges of the month days so that I can find them easily. So it's like a divider and a binder. I haven't done June yet, and it's like 4 days away, so I'm a little behind because I usually have to do it a month ahead. So yeah, that's what I'll be working on. Always fun. I'll also be getting a second cup of tea because my butterfly blue orange ginger, I don't know if you can see, it's gonna like pour out. It's blue because of the butterfly pea flower that is in the mix, which is kind of cool. But yeah, hard to show you with a screen. Benadryl, even children's Benadryl makes me so sleepy. I can only take it if I'm ready for bed. You know what I think is funny that I've thought about a couple times since reading it is that on the Benadryl it says do not use to make kids sleepy, because I'm sure there's been a trend of parents saying take this Benadryl so that the kid will calm down and go to sleep and take a nap. I thought it was hilarious that they had to put it as a warning on the bottle. Poor parents. Why does video editing to create a short take so long? Yeah. Who was I just on? I was in a chat with someone and I was like, yeah, I can't do a short every day. And they were like, oh, it's pretty easy. It doesn't take much. And I was like, yeah, unless you're making it a mini vlog. And then that's a lot to edit down. But if you're just doing off the cuff delivery, sure, that's probably a better way to go. Yeah. So, another cup of tea with some more caffeine in it, and I won't be blue. And some June reading planning. So maybe I'll just change the question and pop it up again. Question of the day 2. Oh, wait. Never mind. I already answered the question. There's a thing on TikTok where they have text that says someone who is very tired looking at someone else who knows what that feels like. And you just like look at their face, not moving, not speaking. Maybe there's some music, but the text and the image is basically the story. Yeah, maybe that's no. Oh, nice. Vlog yesterday. Maggie's going to make a short about some anemones are blue. Nice. I just wrote down a short idea yesterday about excuse me, the last romance that I read, which was Gigi Listening. It was an audiobook from Libro.fm. And I had a couple ideas for putting it on other platforms. So I wrote it down on a post-it note, and it's preserved. Whether it gets done or in a timely fashion, who knows? But I'm working for people now as a social media content creator, and they have one piece of content that is a podcast that gets made into a website article, a video, a review, another website page. And I think that's it. So it's 3 types of content, but then they make that into different things for 3 different platforms. And I thought, oh, this is how you do less content with more promotion. But because to the person behind the desk, it looks like you're cutting and snipping and recycling the same thing several different times. But from the outside, you only catch it once or maybe twice. So it's all to the good. It's a good strategy, I think. Kat says, I need another cup of coffee. I stayed up late finishing up editing last night to release a video today. Oh my gosh, awesome. Well, I will saunter over to your channel as well and check it out. You know what? I don't have black tea in the house. I ran out and I have a few days before I leave, so I don't want to get another one, or I haven't found a place to buy another good stash of black tea. So maybe it'll have to be sugar. Maybe 10:30 I am going to go for an ice cream sandwich. I'll check the weather before I allow that to happen to see if it's allowable. Kat says, I'm thinking about reading another short story for Horror Mayhem, but really need to finish it for after. It's a cool title. All right, that's our cue. So I'm going to jump into the third sprint, do my dang thing, and see you in 20 minutes. No. I don't know if you could hear the bell dawns when we come back from a break. It gives you the last 3 seconds as 3 little dings. I'm muted, but I'm sharing the screen that the sound is coming from, so logically it should be audible on your end. Meanwhile, I came back with some black tea. It tastes like I'm at a barbecue. It is not the greatest lap song souchong, but it is caffeinated, I think. And I also got some sugar in the front of the gummy bears because an ice cream sandwich at 60 degrees is not really justifiable. Worked a little bit on my planner, and then I read another story, but I totally don't get it. It's a short meeting between a guy and a gal at a party, and they spend the whole time she trading jibes and puns and jokes, and he trying to ask her where she got those big blue eyes from, which is such a ridiculous question. She says ridic for ridiculous and sill for silly, which is pretty silly. I'm getting the vibe that Laments for the Living is really about like how tragic all these comic characters are, but I don't know. I'll be looking up other people's reviews for this before I review it myself. But anyway, and it was called The Mantle of Whistler. The only thing I can think of is that it's talking about, oh, that's echo, not whistle. The Mantle of Whistler. I don't know what bearing the title has in the story. It made me think of Narcissus, that Narcissus had an echo, because it's kind of what it feels like. It's the guy and the girl might be Narcissus and echo. Who knows? All right, well, what did we get up to? Maggie says, finished short and now to export it and upload it. Yay, come on, internet. You can do it. Kat says, I fixed myself some coffee and read. Yeah, that was a like scramble to get everything done at once kind of mode for me as well. I keep checking Storygraph, and it says there's 15 people who are participating there in May of the Moderns, which is pretty cool. But I can't see what they're reading for it. Like, I see what books they put in each prompt, and there was someone who went through and had like paranormal romance that was contemporary, and I had to hide it, which is like weird self-promotion, or maybe like you're hired to promote it, so you put it on your list as like shared with this many groups and you get paid for it, even though it's not allowed. I don't know why. I don't know why you would share like urban fantasy or paranormal romance in a modern literature readathon on Storygraph. But anyway, here you are. Here's the link for the Storygraph challenge where you can see the prompts and the books that other people put in. I just wish there was a way to see, like, I don't know, like one of those little snail races where you can see everyone is participating in the books that they've read behind them in the slime, and then the ones that they're reading underneath them, and then like projected books. That would be kind of fun, actually. But not gonna happen. Okay. So Fixed Coffee and read The Outsider by H.P. Lovecraft. Horror mayhem. Well done. And then Maggie says, my Mother's Day present from the eldest came a beautiful planner set with paper and stickers and washi tape and Asian patterns of chickadees, finches, and autumn leaves. That sounds so gorgeous. Yeah. So now I have a beautiful blank planner for next year. Yeah, we're going into the second half of this year, so next year. All right. The planner, I just use a blank notebook for, and I'm personalizing it as I need, as I go. But the morning pages journal, so I've been doing morning pages for almost half a year every day now, every single day since the winter solstice. So we'll definitely be celebrating something on the summer solstice for that accomplishment. Hopefully, I'll probably forget. But I'm using it as an excuse to use a lot of the journals that I've had hoarded, shall we say, in the drawer. They're not very long. They're like 100 pages, and so it takes me about a month to go through that with morning pages. The question is then, how do you store them if you want to keep them? I don't normally go back and read morning pages, but it would be an interesting artifact for later to look back on. Yeah. The Outsider was first published in 1926. Really? Wow. Didn't know Lovecraft was that old. Oh, that's cool. So horror, mayhem, and May of the Moderns. Kat says, are you doing morning pages after reading The Artist's Way? You know, I just saw someone review The Artist's Way and be disappointed, and there were a whole bunch of people who commented saying they were also disappointed in it. Yeah, I think I must have. I think she's the one who coined the phrase, but I don't remember reading a full Julia Cameron book. I may have read it from the library, which is why it didn't imprint, but a long, long time ago. So yeah, most of my visioning and brainstorming and sort of creative well exercises usually come from Barbara Scher's book, Witchcraft. She was a hippie in the 70s and 80s, and Witchcraft is like my OG Bible for creative pursuits. So I definitely recommend it to anyone. It's definitely in my bookshop.org lists, I think. It's favorites. If it's not, I should put it up there. But yeah. Morning pages, 3 pages, handwritten, first thing or as close to first thing as you can get. Pretty doable, even when you're traveling. I think I may have done some in the evening because I was traveling all day, like driving. Which will happen again pretty soon. Kat says I'm starting it in June and will attempt the 12-week course, which includes morning pages. 12-week course is like inherent in the book, or is someone doing a special read together, plan together kind of course? I don't remember there being a course, but I do remember there was like exercises for sure, just not writing in it, which makes me think it's why, which is why it makes me think I have had it from the library. Lap song not helping at all. Well, I'm kind of like almost halfway on both of these. Did some planner work, did some tea work. I don't know. Last one, what should I do? Book. I bought the journal. Oh, okay. So you've got it to go with. That's cool. Julia Cameron has done a lot of savvy business things since putting out The Artist's Way, and I kind of have a little side eye for that in terms of all the marketing things that she's offering, or for estate. I don't know who's in charge of the purse strings anymore, but yeah, I was saying earlier, social content is just a couple things remixed and recycled and spat out. So, you know, you've got to earn money to live. Maybe that's just how you do it. Oh, okay. Yeah, Refuse to Choose is a little later. Hope you liked it. I like her tone. Her writing tone is very appealing, positive and upbeat, and sort of take no shit. She just, if something is crappy, she'll explain how the sads make her feel. I like Barbara Scher's writing. And 30 seconds. Let's give an update. On the Beanster, I took pillows off to vacuum them, and I left the middle pillow out on my couch and put a blanket over the top, because Bean likes to sit on the top of the pillows and sort of cushion to the softness. He is now spending his entire time under the blanket between the two pillows because it's like a little pillow fort. So I know where to find him these days. All right, so we're now going to hop into our fourth and final sprint of our 2 hours. I'll mute myself and see you in a little bit. So it was all over the place. The last sprint is always the doozy. The doozy. And we've only got a couple minutes. The last 2 minutes I was actually on TikTok. So you found me out. I'm probably gonna take a little nap, probably like a 20 to 40-minute nap before get up, do some more screen time, maybe get some lunch. It's gonna be warm. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my day. I gotta organize some stuff for the trip, but yeah, my eyes and my brain just don't seem to be working very well. Can you relate? I'm sure you can. So let's just reiterate the key points for today. We're in the last stretch of May of the Moderns. This is my 3rd year hosting it. First it was March, then it was May, then it was May, and this is the last year I'll be hosting it, 3rd year. So get those reads in while you can, especially if you've got TBR veterans, because every old book you read makes room for a new book to buy or borrow or cadge, right? So thank you for coming around to my cozy reading corner, and subscribe if you're here and like the vibe, the nice fireplace crackling, even on a warm day, works for me. And if you have any questions about anything, let me know. The last story I read, another tearjerker. Like, these are so sad. It was Dorothy Parker just having a one-sided conversation of a woman talking in her head to not try to call her beau, and like anxiety spiral. I was like, this is too real. This is too real. I popped in the playlist, which is not just my Moderns videos, but everyone who is participating in the readathon if they tag me, because I like to support other people who are involved. I have not read any other Dorothy Parker. So, poetry book called Enough Rope. That's a good recommendation, Maggie. I will try to search that out. Kat says, I read Jumbee by Henry S. Whitehead, originally published in September 1926. Plan to eat lunch now, plan my upcoming week, and do some writing on my blog. Nice, very nice. Nia Vixen of Fiction is here. Hello, Nia. We're just closing out, as you can tell from the banner, but thanks for popping in, hitting that like button, and yes, I will see you guys on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific. That's 5 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to be around for our last chat about moderns with Sandy from Ms. Reads a Lot. She's a great booktube reader. So we'll just have some fun recapping the readathon and our month. I think that'll be good. Nice and chill. So that's everything. I hope to see you again soon. And thanks for coming by and leaving a comment. Y'all are wonderful. Take care.